Alright, let's see if this works. So, in this project, I had to be Bigfoot because Bigfoot is cool. So, do you believe in Bigfoot? Bigfoot was first talked about in 1958, and that's when like everybody in America really started like going after and trying to find out like where is the Bigfoot, all that good stuff. Me personally, I'm not a big like believer in Bigfoot, but many people are. So the first source is them finding the Bigfoot footprint, which this article was the BMC Evolutionary Biology Department people, I guess, I don't know for sure. But they found footprints in the woods, copied them, and then like tried to do like genetic sampling and to see if it was like actually a genetic or their cells and stuff were still there. The problem is where they're gonna find these. Like they're up north in the mountains, like towards Canada, up that way. The problem I felt like the biggest one was it could have been just people out there you never really know, footprints or whatever. Depending on where they found it, if it was a highly populated area, it could have been a person, it could have been all these other things. But I feel like they're using the argument of similarity purely because our footprint looks a lot like that footprint, just that's drastically bigger. So they say. The second one is man or myth. Brant L. Williams studied Bigfoot for 1948. He was devoted like his whole life to finding Bigfoot. So they gathered stories from around the area, trying to like figure out like where they could find a Bigfoot. But the only problem with hearing these stories and like where people said, it's their memory. Like the encoding of the event could have been bad. They could have been late. They couldn't see very well. There's so many different little factors that could have been a part of them not being able to, or like hearing the stories. So like it just messes with stories. I don't even know how to say this right, but what they could have saw, they said they saw Bigfoot, which it could have just been a bear, it could have been something big, a shadow. So they really aren't sure if they saw Bigfoot. They're using an inductive argument in this, like, yeah. Added towards Bigfoot. This one study, they surveyed 300 Canadian and American scientists, highly educated people, and whether they believed in Bigfoot. It's like, and the majority of them said no. I think it was like 75% plus people did not believe in the Bigfoot. For the more highly educated, I guess the ones that are a little less educated did believe in it, or they had their own myths and stories like that they experienced to make them believe. So the more highly educated, you're probably like, oh, that's just this, and this, rather than that. They're just like kind of I said they're using oversimplification because that like they don't think it's real. Like they don't believe in Bigfoot. So if they didn't see one, it may tend to go towards they do not believe in Bigfoot. For the hairs, okay, this other article is talking about hair samples they found. It was the Museum of Zoology, Louisiana, University of Oxford. They found hairs out in the woods, but we really didn't know like what it was or like where, like it could have been anything type of hair. It could have been bear hair, it could have been deer, whatever. The problem was they were finding other animals' hair. They weren't just finding Bigfoot. Like they did find something that was like related to Yeti, which is similar to a Bigfoot, but not really. They were cherry picking, finding the hairs that like they could say went with it. Bigfoot's missing link. They used the internet and like they studied different claims of like where they were, and they went and investigated to see like it was for real. The problem is you can't really trust someone's stories from the internet. They cannot, even if they talk to the person, the story may change over time. All the encoding problems, and they too were cherry picking because they were trying to find pieces that said yes, there's Bigfoot. So they tended to like follow those leads more, so to like get more of an answer. Tracking Bigfoot. They used children's culture for this. Like it was like the children up in Canada, and like see if they believed or what they saw, if they did or whatever. Problem is, the more you go up, the more realistic you become, I feel like. So they weren't really appealing to like the older population rather than the younger kids that obviously do believe this, from like Scooby-Doo, for instance. But they took Canadian children from a like rural area, and up in Canada, they didn't say where, but they saw something that resembled Bigfoot's prints, or resembled Bigfoot, and like asked what they were. And this was appealed to their emotion because like children are known to believe, like from all cartoons and all, that Bigfoot is real. So they were appealing to taking their emotional appeal towards it to make them seem like they believe, which it didn't really help sway me at all. Conclusions. My feelings towards Bigfoot being real are still not really there. I understand how people could believe that a Bigfoot is real, or maybe if they have their own like personal experiences, they might say it's real. But to this day, I have not had any experiences like that, so I'm still on the opposite end, saying that it's not real. But I do see like they could say they saw something, but I highly doubt anywhere in Alabama, at least, there ain't going to be no Bigfoots, or typically, so they said, up in the mountains in Canada up that way. But for me to actually believe it, I would need to see some type of like a video proof or something like hard evidence-wise to believe it. And these are my references. You'll see them in the paper. Thank you.